So let's create a swap file and not a swap partition. Let's roll the intro, and that's quite enough. So we are going to like and subscribe to the helps, and you're going to create here a swap file and not a swap partition. I'm not going to discuss here which one is the best, if it's better to use a swap file or a swap partition. That's not the case here. Imagine that a swap partition, it's usually the better choice. But if you are unable to create a new partition, you have no space to create new partitions, or have no disks to create new partitions, and you need some swap space in a jiffy. Jiffy, is that a word? So we're going to create a swap file and not a swap partition in Linux. All right. So I have here my usual machines. They are just quite a mess because I've been using for lots of tutorials and other stuff. But let's see if you have space for a swap file. Okay, all you need is space. So let me put my password here. So all you need is free space. You don't need, since this is a swap file and not a swap partition, you just need free available space. It doesn't matter. You don't have to create new disks or partitions, just free space. So I have made other videos about partitioning and free space availability, especially on the RH124 and 134 training courses. Like and subscribe to helps, and check those out. I will make more, but they are already there, so go and check it out on my playlist. And let me see. I have some space. Do I have some space? And not really that much, so that's fine. So let's troubleshoot this. Let's see how many disks I have. I don't have that many. I don't have that much space available on this, so let me try. I could use a small swap file, but I should use something a little bit bigger. That's fine. I have a secondary machine here. Let me see if I have space there. Oh yeah, here I have lots of stuff. Okay, let me put the console a little bit bigger so you guys can check it out. So let me get some root access. Clear this out. Let's do lsblk. So I have here lots of partitions I can use. So let's do df-h. I even have too much space available. Okay. So let me see. So I have here some space on this guy here. It's fine. So it's mounted where? On MNT Stratus. So I have here a Stratus volume. It doesn't really matter where the free space is. Just make it available right now. If it's available right now, it should be okay. It doesn't have to be something as complicated as a Stratus partition. It can be any partition. Just make sure you have free space, and I do have some space there. So let's say I want to create. Let's do something manageable. A 2 GB swap file. Okay, so yeah, 2 GB may seem small, and it is by today's standards, but this procedure, you can do a 2 GB, a 2 TB, or to whatever space you want. Okay, so let's just check it out, the swap space we have available right now. So let's do swap on -s. Again, go check it out, my playlist on the RH124 and 134 to get more details all about this. And this is just to guys to know at what point you are currently at. Okay, so these are the swap spaces we have available at this point. So we have here 3 swap spaces, 2 GB one, 1 GB one. They are all partitions, but let's create a swap file. So if everything goes right, in the end, I'm going to do a swap on -s, and a new swap file is going to pop here. Okay, so you're going to have a new swap file. All right. So let's try this out. So in order to have a swap file, the file needs to exist first, and then we convert the file into a swap file. First, he exists randomly. Imagine you have a file already as big as the swap file we want to create. So I want to create let's say a 1 GB swap file. So 1 GB should be, or 2 GB, whatever. So let's say I want to make a 1 GB swap file. So if you already have a 1 GB file that already exists, and you don't need it, you can convert that file to a swap file. But I'm going to create a one from scratch, so I don't have to recycle anyone or already existing one or copy it. It's just too much work. So I'm going to create a new swap file. I'm going to create a new file with the size I want to be the swap file in the end. So if I want a 1 GB swap file, I'm going to create a 1 GB file, generic file. It can be a text file, it can be whatever file, because in the end, we're going to convert this into a swap file and the contents are going to be just blasted. So I don't want to hunt my system for a swap file, a generic file as big as I want it to be. I don't want to create a text file to be 1 GB. It's just too much work. So I'm going to use a utility called DD. And I'm going to use this DD utility quite a lot in my tutorials. But this DD utility, it says convert and copy a file. Okay. So I don't, does this version have any examples? I would say no. I would say does not have any, but that's fine. We can use just this one, or just do a DD minus help and it should be okay. So as you can see, the DD has lots of potential, but this can be used for many things. Use it with care. That's something you need to be aware of. You have to use it with care, because this DD utility can actually be a little bit dangerous if badly used. So just be careful. Test this out on a machine you can waste, or a test VM, so you can just get a hang of it. Okay, so I'm going to use DD to create a file with nothing in it. So it's going to have zeros there, because like I said, it doesn't matter what the contents of the file are. The file needs to be as big as the swap file I want it to create to be. So if you want a 1 GB swap file, you need to have a 1 GB big file. So I'm going to use DD to use a file as big as I want with zeros inside. So use this with care. If I mess up this machine, I really don't care. I'm using it for some tutorials. I can just revert it, so it's fine. So be careful and use it with care. So I'm going to do like this. So DD, and they're going to say EF. EF means input file, which means what is going to be the contents of the new file. And I'm going to make use of the zero utility to make it filled up with zeros. So it's a useless file at this point, but it will have its usefulness renewed in a few minutes. Then output file. This is going to be the output. So I'm going to put this on the MNT Stratis folder. It can be anywhere. You just need to have free space to do that. And I'm going to call it swap.swp. Swap is fine. Okay, now I'm going to there's an extra bar there, slash. Okay, so I'm going to pick up some zeros on the device, on the Linux device that creates zeros. I'm going to put it inside the file called swap.swp. If I hit enter, I would be done, but the file would be as big as the partition is. So if the partition has 20 terabytes available, it's going to be a 20 terabytes file. That's not what I want. I want to say, I don't know, block size equals, so BS means block size 1 GB and count equals 1. So in theory, it's going to create a 1 GB file. Okay, you can tailor your BS. You can tailor your block size as big as you want. Smaller block sizes, bigger block sizes. That's all your prerogative. It will depend. I will not discuss the advantages or disadvantages of using a bigger block size or a smaller block size. But in this case, it's a 1 GB block size of a count of 1. So 1 GB big. In the end, the file is going to be 1 GB. As you can see there, it's 1 GB big. Okay, so you can use smaller block sizes to create a file as big as 1 GB. There are situations you need to tailor the block size, but in this case, it's fine. So as you can see, I have created a file 1 GB big. That's all we needed. Okay, so this file is 1 GB big. Again, you can call this file whatever you want. You can put it wherever you like it to be. Just make sure you have available space for the swap file to be created there. So this is a quite useless file at this point because it's full of zeros. So it's just nothing there. Okay. Now we're going to convert this into a swap file. How? We're going to use the same utility we would use to format a swap partition, but you're going to format this as a swap file. Okay. So the same command, but it will just format the file and not the partition. So now it's converted to a swap file. This is going to be seen as a swap file. Okay, it's going to tell us that the permissions are not the best ones. You can just ignore or just play along. Okay, which is fine. So this is the current ones. You need to set this to these ones. So it takes a second. So why not to make this a little bit more secure? Okay. Now you are ready to convert this swap file to an official swap space. It's not yet. So swap on -s. It's not there yet. So you just need to do swap on -a to activate, and it's there. So it's a completely new swap space. In this case, a 1 gigabyte swap space available to the system to be seen as swap space. You are done. That's that. Okay. Of course, this is not going to survive the reboot. Okay. If you want to make this a permanent situation for every reboot, you just need to add it to the FS tab. Let me show you how it's done. So etc FS tab. And do I have my swaps, my custom strat? Okay, so let's add here my custom swap file. So this part here is just cosmetics. It's just me being, oh, it's already there. I'm sorry. I already have a section. Okay, so we just need to add this and kind of play along. Swap defaults 00. Oh, there's a missing letter there. Default 00. Swap on -activate, and you should be good to go. There we go. So the swap file is now in action. It's doing its thing, and it's going to be activated as a swap file on every reboot from here on. If you don't want this to be on every reboot, you just need to comment out. You can either delete the line or just comment this out, and it's not going to be mounted on every reboot. So you can have this file just to be activated on demand when you want it. If you want to deactivate the file, just do swap off, and you say this there, and now it's gone. Okay. So if you want to activate the file on every reboot, you just add it to the FS tab file. Just rewind the video a little bit to check it out. But you can activate it by hand, deactivate it by hand, make it permanent on every reboot. But there you go. Now you know how to create a swap file and activate a swap file. Okay. Oh, I was finding strange because it was not getting activated, but I have commented out, so of course it's not going to be activated. So let me uncomment this. Swap on -a, swap on -s, and there it is. Okay, so now you know how to create a swap file, so you don't have to create a partition, because sometimes partitions are not available, storage space is not available, etc. So if you want in a jiffy create a swap file, this is how you do it. So this is how can you create a swap file on Linux. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. Like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe and comment out. It really helps this channel to grow and get this information to everybody else. Once again, like, subscribe, and comment out. It really helps. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.